If you're worried that eating before training will ruin your fat loss, relax. Fasted training isn't a magic hack, but it's not pointless either. What decides your results is simple: how you perform, how hungry you get, and how consistent you can stay. Quick warning: if fasting drops your performance or makes you attack food later, it comes with a real cost, and that can erase the benefit. In the next few minutes, you'll know when fasted helps, when it backfires, and the one rule to choose without overthinking. And at the end, I'll give you a 7-day test to prove it on your body, no guessing. All right, let's set the terms. Fasted means you train after a fast, usually overnight, about 8 to 12 hours without eating. Fed means you ate close to training, about 30 to 180 minutes before lifting or cardio. Now here's the biggest trap. Guys notice they burn more fat during a fasted workout, and they treat that like the final result. But your body doesn't grade you on one session. It grades you on the week. Yes, during a fasted workout, your body may use a bigger share of fat for fuel in that moment, but that doesn't guarantee more fat loss by the end of the week. So the real question isn't which one burns more fat while I'm sweating. It's which one helps me train better, control hunger, and keep a calorie deficit without suffering. That's what actually pays off. Now let's make the science simple. 3 layers: performance, short-term signals, long-term results. Layer 1, performance. If the workout is long, especially longer cardio, eating beforehand often helps you perform better. If the workout is shorter, the difference can be smaller. Translation: if you need to last, fuel has value. Because when performance stays high, your training plan is easier to repeat. And if you're a busy man over 30, you don't have endless energy in the bank. If fasted makes you sluggish, you can still finish, but the session quality can quietly drop. Layer 2, what happens in the moment? Fasted training can make it look like you're using more fat right after the workout. That's why fasting feels like it's working. But it's just a snapshot. Your body can balance things out later. More fat used now, less later. Or you get extra hungry and you spend back the calories at night. So fat burn during the workout can be a distracting number. If you want real results, track the boring stuff: weekly average weight, waist measurement, training performance, and whether you can hit your steps per day while staying in your deficit. Layer 3, strength training, which is what most guys really care about. Here's the straight answer. Lifting fasted versus fed usually doesn't create a huge long-term difference as long as you still train hard and your daily nutrition is solid. So no, you're not ruining gains just because you lift fasted. And no, fed training isn't automatically better either. The deciding factor is, can you hit your planned sets, reps, and load? If fasted turns a full session into a half session, that's a bad trade. And even if fasting gives a small fat loss edge for some people, don't choose it if it triggers overeating later. That's not worth it. Now the hierarchy. This is what really drives fat loss and recomposition. A sustainable calorie deficit, enough total protein per day, strength training with consistency, daily movement, steps per day, so you're not relying on heroic cardio. Protein timing doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be doable. Most guys do great with 20 to 40 grams of protein per meal spread through the day. Here's how fasting hurts most people. Not in the workout, in the day after. They train fasted, then delay food, then lunch gets messy, then they're starving at 5 p.m., and the whole day gets harder to control. They didn't unlock fat loss, they just made the plan harder to follow. Now the practical rule: no drama, no team fasted, no team fed. You're not choosing fasted versus food. You're choosing performance plus adherence. Fasted can work well if your strength and volume don't drop, you finish controlled, hunger stays manageable, and your routine becomes easier, less friction, more consistency. If that's you, fasted is a tool that can help you stay on track because it simplifies your morning. Fasted usually hurts if your weights drop, your effort collapses, or you cut the workout short. You get irritable, hunger gets extreme, and you make up for it later. Or your training is long and intense, and you start dying halfway through. If any of those happen, fasting isn't free. You're paying for it somewhere. Here's your decision template. 3 questions. After 1 week, did my performance stay the same? Was my hunger manageable after, and did my day get easier to execute? If you get 2 or 3 yes answers, fasted is fine. If you get 2 or 3 no answers, go fed. Pick the option that gives you the best chance at steady results. Now I'll give you plug-and-play protocols, 3 training types. First, strength training, 45 to 75 minutes. If you train well fasted, keep it but protect the day. Have a planned post-workout meal, protein plus carbs, no improvising. If performance drops fasted, use a small pre-workout 30 to 60 minutes before. Not a feast, just enough fuel to keep the session strong. Simple options, fruit and whey, or fruit and yogurt, or bread or rice with a lean protein. Now by schedule. If you train in the morning, if fasted works, water and coffee, train, then your planned meal right after. If fed works better, do the small pre-train, then normal breakfast. If you train in the afternoon, eat a normal lunch with protein. If training is 2 to 3 hours later, that may be enough. If you feel flat, add the mini pre. If you train at night, fasted usually isn't the play. You've been awake all day. Protect performance. A small pre-workout often makes training feel steadier without wrecking dinner. Second, long cardio, 60 minutes or more. Here, fuel often wins. A simple carb before can help you keep pace and finish strong. Because your goal isn't to survive cardio, your goal is to keep it repeatable while you hold the calorie deficit. Third, HIIT or very intense training. This is where fasted can backfire fast. If you get dizzy or your power drops hard, treat that as real feedback. Go fed for consistency. Quick templates, no cooking class. Fed 30 to 90 minutes before, fruit and yogurt or whey or bread or rice with lean protein. Fasted, if you prefer it, water and coffee, then a planned post-workout meal with protein and carbs. And remember, no spot reduction. Timing won't target belly fat. We win the simple scoreboard: weekly average weight, waist measurement, training performance, and steps per day. That's the long-term plan. Now, the 7-day experiment. Over your next 7 training days, do 3 sessions fasted, 3 sessions fed, and 1 free day. After every session, rate performance 0 to 10, hunger after 0 to 10, and adherence to your deficit that day. Then comment fasted or fed and tell me, do you train in the morning, afternoon, or night?